Uncle Derek's voice boomed across my parents' backyard during the Memorial Day reunion. Everyone gather around. I have an announcement about our summer plans. I watched my family cluster around him like he'd won the lottery. Derek had crowned himself family patriarch after Dad died 3 years ago, organizing every holiday and making family decisions without consulting anyone who mattered. Maya inherited that beach property from her father, Derek announced, his chest puffed. Now Jack wanted that house to benefit the whole family, not just one person. I was 29, a coastal environmental policy analyst for the state. My family treated my career like a glorified park ranger job. Something cute but not serious, like my cousin Brandon's insurance sales or my sister Claire's marketing coordinator position. So I've taken the liberty of having keys made for everyone. Derek pulled out a box. Consider it our family vacation home. I've set up a shared calendar to coordinate visits. He distributed keys like party favors. Mom clapped. Claire squealed about 4th of July plans. Aunt Susan texted about bringing her book club. Derek, we need to talk about this, I said quietly. He waved me off. Maya, sweetie, this is what your dad would have wanted. Don't be selfish. Besides, Mom interrupted, taking her key, you barely use it. You're always working on those little environmental reports. At least this way it gets proper use. Those little reports were comprehensive coastal management policy briefs that influenced state legislation, but explaining never changed their perception. Brandon clapped my shoulder. It's just a beach house. Don't be difficult about this. I recognized the setup. Agree or become the selfish relative who didn't care about family unity. They'd positioned me as the odd one out for years. Too serious. Too focused on work. Not a team player like Brandon, who still lived with his parents at 32. I'll need to think about it. Derek's expression hardened. Think about what? It's done. The keys are distributed. This is how families work. Actually, there are legal considerations, Aunt Susan laughed. Listen to her with the big words. Your father would want us all to benefit, not just you hoarding it. Claire touched my arm with false sympathy. You're not really the entertaining type anyway. Let those of us with actual social lives use it. I pulled out my phone, opening the state property registry app. Before everyone makes plans. Put the phone away, Derek snapped. This isn't about work. This is family. I've already invited clients for July, Brandon announced. Network building. I'm planning Claire's bachelorette party there in August, Aunt Susan added. Wait, Claire, you're engaged. My sister flashed a ring. 3 weeks ago. We posted on Facebook. I'd been in Sacramento consulting on coastal protection legislation. Congratulations. See, Claire told the group. Always working. Never available for actual family stuff. September 15th, Claire continued. At the beach house. The photos will be amazing. You're having your wedding at my house? The family house, Derek corrected. Seats about 100 on that deck. Beautiful ocean views. Way better than paying for some venue. Only my cousin Jessica looked uncomfortable, but she said nothing. I need to make a phone call, I said, walking to the front yard. The beach house wasn't just my inheritance. It was enrolled in the state's Coastal Heritage Protection Program, a conservation initiative I'd helped develop with the Governor's Environmental Policy Council. The property sat on critical habitat for endangered species, with strict usage restrictions. I called my colleague Marcus. Can you check for permit applications on property CH 2847? Keyboard clicking. Someone submitted an event permit this morning. 100-person wedding in September plus multiple large gatherings. Claims the owner approved it. That wasn't me. Maya, this property is under protected status. Events over 15 people require state environmental review. 100-person wedding needs full impact assessment. Whoever submitted this either didn't check or ignored the restrictions. Who submitted it? Derek Morrison. Lists himself as family representative and property manager. Marcus's tone shifted. Fraudulent permit applications for protected properties are serious. This triggers a state investigation. I know. The governor's office takes violations seriously. We have enforcement attorneys for this. I thought about Derek handing out keys. About Claire's 100-person wedding on a habitat protection zone. Flag it in the system. I'll call tomorrow with a full report. Already done. I'm sorry your family did this. When I returned, Derek cornered me at my car. I hope you've thought about this maturely. I have. Good. Family unity is important. I looked at his satisfied expression. Dad knew exactly what he was doing leaving me that property. Right. To benefit the family. To protect it. I unlocked my car. You'll be hearing from the state about your permit application. What? The property's in the Coastal Heritage Protection Program. Protected status. You can't throw a wedding on a habitat conservation zone. You're bluffing. Check the public property registry. It's documented. The call came Tuesday morning. Governor's Office, Environmental Enforcement. I stepped into the hallway. This is Maya Morrison. Ms. Morrison, this is Attorney Catherine Walsh from Environmental Policy Enforcement. I'm calling regarding protected property 2847. I've been expecting your call. We received a fraudulent permit application, plus reports of unauthorized key distribution. We take violations extremely seriously. Can you provide details? I explained Derek's announcement, the distributed keys, Claire's planned wedding. Ms. Morrison, your property contains nesting grounds for 2 endangered shorebird species and critical dune habitat. The protection agreement you signed includes legally binding usage limitations. Your family's planned activities would violate multiple state statutes. I understand. We'll send an enforcement team to inspect the property. We'll also need statements. Additionally, we're required to prosecute attempts to circumvent restrictions. Prosecute. Mr. Morrison submitted false information claiming authorization he didn't have. That's fraud. If people use those keys, that's criminal trespassing on protected land. I see. The governor takes this program personally. It was her signature initiative. She doesn't tolerate people treating protected habitats like playgrounds. Catherine paused. I'll contact you within 48 hours. Meanwhile, don't allow unauthorized access. My phone exploded with messages. Mom, what did you do? Derek says you reported him to the state? Brandon, this is low. Family doesn't sue family. Claire, you're ruining my wedding because you can't share? I turned my phone off. The enforcement team arrived Thursday. Catherine Walsh, 2 inspectors, 1 wildlife biologist. 3 hours documenting everything. No unauthorized access yet, the biologist confirmed. Nesting areas undisturbed. You've maintained this beautifully. Catherine pulled me aside. We're moving forward with charges against Derek Morrison for fraudulent permit application. We're sending cease and desist letters to everyone who got keys, 15 people. They're prohibited from accessing this property under penalty of law. What happens next? A hearing. Given the evidence, it's straightforward. Your uncle faces significant fines and possible criminal charges. And Claire's wedding? Catherine's expression softened. There's no legal way for that event here. Even with proper request, a 100-person event would never be approved for this habitat. That's the whole point. Ms. Morrison, the governor's office knows about your work on the coastal policy team. Your contributions to developing this program are noted at the highest levels. Voluntarily enrolling your own property demonstrates exceptional environmental commitment. I just did what was right. Not everyone does. She handed me her card. Call if your family attempts further unauthorized access. We've got your back. Jessica texted, everyone's melting down. Dad got a letter from the governor's office. Claire's crying. Your mom says you destroyed the family. I replied, the property was always protected. They never bothered to ask. Another message appeared from an unknown number. Ms. Morrison, this is Laura Chin from the governor's communications office. The governor would like to speak with you about the Protected Properties Program. Available for a call tomorrow at 10 a.m. The governor wanted to talk to me? Yes, I'm available. The call came exactly at 10. Ms. Morrison, please hold for Governor Reeves. Then her voice. Maya, thank you for taking my call. I wanted to speak personally about your property situation. Governor Reeves, what you did, voluntarily enrolling your inherited property, represents exactly the environmental commitment we need. Catherine Walsh says you've handled this with remarkable integrity despite family pressure. Thank you, ma'am. I want to feature your story in our environmental initiative campaign. We need examples of young people making difficult choices to protect coastal habitats. Your property is a perfect case study. Feature it how? Press conference next month announcing program expansion. I'd like you speaking about why you enrolled your property. We're also highlighting the enforcement aspect. Showing protected status means something. That involves discussing my family's violations. Yes. But Maya, environmental protection isn't always comfortable. Sometimes doing right means standing up to people we love. That's powerful. I thought about Derek's anger, Claire's accusations, Mom's disappointment. Then about seabirds nesting safely, dune ecosystem thriving. I'll do it. Excellent. My team will contact you. And Maya? I read your coastal erosion management brief last month. Impressive. We should discuss your career trajectory soon. Career trajectory. The governor complimented my work. My family thought I was a glorified park ranger. The press conference room packed with cameras, reporters, environmental advocates, state officials. Catherine Walsh stood with the enforcement team. Marcus gave me a thumbs up. Governor Reeves announced the program expansion, then introduced me. Maya Morrison, a coastal environmental policy analyst who exemplified the commitment we need. She voluntarily enrolled her inherited property, prioritizing habitat conservation. When faced with family pressure to violate that protection, she stood firm. I stepped to the microphone, hands shaking slightly. 2 years ago, I inherited a beach property on critical habitat for endangered shorebirds and fragile dune ecosystems. I could have kept it as vacation property or sold it for profit. Instead, I enrolled it in the Coastal Heritage Protection Program because some things are more valuable than money or convenience. I explained the program, the protections, coastal conservation importance. Then continued. Recently, family members attempted using the property for large events without permits, disregarding protected status. When I refused activities that would damage habitat, I was called selfish, vindictive, unfamily-like. But environmental protection isn't about being popular. It's about making hard choices for ecosystem health. Reporters typed furiously. Cameras flashed. I'm sharing this not to criticize my family, but to illustrate that protecting our environment sometimes requires saying no to people we love. It requires prioritizing endangered species survival over our convenience. That's uncomfortable, but necessary. The applause was immediate and sustained. Reporters shouted questions. One asked, "Do you regret enrolling the property given the family conflict?" Not for a second. The conflict existed because my family didn't respect protected status. That's not environmental policy failure. That's personal accountability failure. After 40 minutes, Governor Reeves pulled me aside. Perfect. Principled but not preachy. You're a natural communicator. Thank you, Governor. I meant what I said about career discussion. My senior policy team has a coastal programs director opening. You should apply. My phone had 37 new messages. I didn't check them. The story went viral. Woman protects endangered species over family wedding ran everywhere. Environmental groups praised my commitment. A few criticized prioritizing birds over family, but overwhelming support drowned them out. Derek's troubles intensified. The prosecutor pursued charges fully. He pled guilty to fraudulent permit application, fined $8,500 plus court costs. His name appeared in news articles as a cautionary tale. Claire's rescheduled spring wedding happened at a country club. She didn't invite me. Neither did Mom. Brandon posted photos about real family. I wasn't tagged. Jessica texted a wedding photo. You're not missing much. Everyone's complaining about expenses because they couldn't use your beach house. Dad's still bitter about the fine. I got the coastal programs director job. Significant raise, team of 6 analysts, direct governor's office access. My first project, expanding the protected properties program statewide. Marcus brought champagne to celebrate. From underestimated cousin to governor's senior policy team. Quite an arc. They never asked what I actually did. Just assumed I was insignificant. Their loss. Literally, Derek's $8,000 poorer and Claire paid $15,000 for a venue. I raised my glass. To protected habitats and expensive lessons. 6 months later, Jessica sent an envelope. Inside, a note and check for $8,500. Maya, Dad asked me to send this. He says it's from his fine money so you can have what you wanted anyway. I told him that's not the point and he doesn't get it. You were right about everything. I'm sorry I didn't speak up. Hope you're well. Jess. Derek thought this was about money, control, winning. He didn't understand it was about principle, protection, doing right regardless of convenience. I donated the check to the state's Coastal Conservation Fund. They sent acknowledgement thanking Derek Morrison's donation supporting endangered shorebird protection. Appropriately ironic. My beach house sits quietly on protected dunes, hosting only seabirds and natural habitats it was meant to preserve. I visit sometimes alone watching sunsets over the ocean Dad loved. The family thinks I'm hoarding a resource they deserve. They still don't understand that some things aren't meant to be shared, exploited, or controlled. Some things are meant to be protected, even from people who think they have a right to them. Especially from those people.